Hi guys, welcome. My name is Dave. During the time I made videos on this channel, I have lost 30 kilos. Let's look at what I looked like before. This is from the 6th of June, the first video I made. I have also bought a new camera and microphone since then. As you see, there's some of that double chin, in general a bit more bubbly all over. People used to get surprised when I said how much I weighed. Most likely because I get very little underskin fat. I get it in the stomach area and probably also some marbled meat in my muscles. I started the new lifestyle at the end of May, the weekend around the 22nd. Back then I weighed 122 kilos, that's 269 pounds. As of Friday the 14th this month I weighed 92 kilos, 203 pounds. In this video I will present some of the thoughts and discoveries that I've made about weight during this time. I will go quickly through what I've done and what results it has had, but first the introduction. This video will be listed in a playlist called Building My Worldview. This is not an educational channel and all my videos are opinionated. I also assume you guys have at least some prior knowledge of topics I discuss. The background picture is from the Askøy Bridge, connecting Askøy to the mainland and Bergen commune. It has a length of just above 1 kilometer, 1057 meters, and a free height underneath of 152 meters to allow large cruise ships to pass under. When it was finished in 1992, it was the largest bridge in Scandinavia. Two larger bridges has been built in Norway since then. And then you have the Øresund Bridge between Denmark and Sweden. That's probably a tidbit larger also. This has a total length of more than 7.8 kilometers and opened in 2000. I also want to mention that you can adjust the playback speed of the video in the little toot wheel in the bottom of your video window. I have not followed any particular diet. I have just eaten less. To be exact, I started by cutting all candies, eating between meals, and I have cut the size of the meals to approximately 1/3. This had a dramatic effect in the start. I started dropping in weight by 3 kilos a week the first 2 weeks and then 2 kilos a week through June. The last 2 weeks before my vacation in Spain, from the 7th to the 14th of July, I lost 1 kilo per week. On the left you see months and weeks, then there is a table showing weight loss total, and loss per week. These tables are also represented in the 3 graphs. The first video after Spain was Non-Determinism number 1 makes more sense. In that video I looked like this. And again, to compare, this is what I looked like in the first video. I didn't diet when I was in Spain. You can see that on the graph, with no weight loss from week 28 to 29. When I came back from Spain, I weighed 2 kilos more than when I went there, but I was able to lose those 2 kilos right away, so they don't turn up in the stats. By the way, after reducing the meals, I also had to eat more often. I went from eating 4 times a day to 6 times without increasing the amount. Then I continued losing weight at a varying rate through August, and at the end of August I had some stop in weight loss. These are not due to stops in the diet, but rather some kind of ledges in the weight loss. At the beginning of September I tried to minimize starch, like potatoes, pasta, rice and so on. In this period I ate more, but after trying this diet for a while with some positive results, I went back to the normal diet again, but now I ate crisp bread instead of fresh bread. As you see, at the end of the period, some weeks I lose weight and some I don't. I will get back to what I think this is caused by. All this weight loss has happened without training or increase in physical activity. I have increased physical activity now as I have gotten lighter, but this is compensating for those kilos to prevent my muscles and body from decaying, the same way as astronauts in space is losing up to 20% of muscle mass on an 11-day trip. Loss of 30 kilos will also lead to significant loss of muscle mass, in addition to lung capacity, blood circulation, and so on, if one doesn't compensate for the lower strain on the body from not having to drag around those lost kilos from morning to night. I tried to do some jogging in the start, but I found it was demotivating. Then again, I have not been inactive before the diet either. I have a dog that needs a lot of exercise. I already spend 1 to 2 hours a day walking and training with the dog. So honestly, running on a treadmill doesn't seem to be productive. I also checked what running actually accomplishes. An adult man burns on average 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day without any exercise. Sources vary greatly, and I'm not a health expert, so if you have correct information about this, please write about it in the commentary field. This also increases with weight. Just think about it, going through a day with the same daily activities wearing a 30-kilo weight vest. Even a fairly trained individual would be exhausted after a week of that. Jogging for 1 full hour burns about 600 to 800 calories on top of the 2,000 to 3,000. Also here, sources vary. One also must consider that running for an hour wears you out and will count in your daily energy consumption. You would need to rest more and so on, and it will also make you hungrier. My conclusion was that I would rather walk a longer trip with my dog, but now that those kilos are already gone, I have started jogging, so we will see how long I find the motivation to keep it up. But I promise you, if you lose weight fast, it's amazing how much energy you will have. Don't wait too long with increasing activity level, because the changes due to weight loss will happen relatively fast. I think of the effect of training on weight loss as ridiculously exaggerated, to the point that I think it should be a criminal offense to promote bootcamp type of weight loss programs. Also, training centers should not be allowed to advertise their programs as specifically directed toward weight loss. Insofar as weight loss is considered a health problem, training centers claiming to have a cure should be held to the same standards of evidence as for other health services. I have to say though, I don't think training is a bad thing, and in general a positive attitude towards training is not something I would discourage. But it must be seen in context with the general activity level of an individual. After all, think about it. There is plenty of overweight people working in active jobs for 8 hours a day, and at the same time there is inactive office workers that are thin. In addition to this, I think when making changes in life, the right way to do it is incrementally. Changing too many factors at once is setting oneself up for failure. So I think training, and especially ambitiously starting training, is counterproductive if the end goal is weight loss. But of course, if you are living an inactive life in general, maybe you should start there after all. But then you should expect no immediate change in weight from that alone. I'm thinking about stuff like going for a walk and that sort of thing. Have a purpose, take pictures, something. Don't buy a dog that needs a lot of training if you don't have that lifestyle already from before. I am saying this for the sake of the dog, not for you. When it comes to weight loss and weight, we are talking about food going in and calories being burnt. It's as simple as that. As I said, an average man burns 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day just by keeping lights on. 1 kilo of body fat is around 7,000 calories. Remember, 1 hour of jogging is 600 to 800 calories burnt, so to burn 1 kilo of fat one would have to jog for 10 hours, or 1 hour a day for 10 days, without increasing food consumption. Taking into consideration that the first 14 days of my diet I lost 6 kilos, the 1 or 2 kilos more that I would lose by jogging an hour a day just didn't seem to be worth the ado. I will leave a link to the weight loss by training calculator in the description. If the weight I lost for the 2 first weeks of my diet was pure fat, it was 42,000 calories. That is 3,000 calories lost per day. That's not possible if I burn 2 to 3,000 calories a day. Remember, I have not been starving myself. So something else must have been going on. It's not possible to keep a normal lifestyle without eating at all. And remember, I was still eating approximately 2 slices of bread with cheese or ham, some 2 to 300 grams of dinner, and yogurts and fruits and so on. First, living an active life at 122 kilos obviously burns more calories than normal, but also one loses more than just fat. Along with the fat, one loses liquid and so on. After a while, one also loses the muscle mass that one had just to sustain the overweight. So the weight loss is more than just fat, right? This also explains why the weight loss was easier at the start and more difficult after a while as I was getting lighter. In general, losing weight was far more easy than I had imagined. I have not starved myself at any time during the weight loss. Well, actually, I sort of have. At the first of the weight ledges, at around week 36, I started eating less and less and felt fatigued. After drinking some broth, I had a diarrhea where I think I completely emptied my intestines. After filling up the stomach with food again, I continued the weight loss as if nothing had happened. I don't know what this is caused by, but I guess there must be some digestion going on for the body to actually burn fat. So completely starvation seems not to be productive, and it's probably also harmful in the long run. It seems that there is a balance between the process of weight loss and losing energy. This is one of the only few times during the period where I have lost energy. I have tried to pay close attention to my body's reactions and eating more each time I felt some kind of unease. I also experienced some of the other normal side effects of weight loss like blurry vision and dizziness. I compared for this by taking multivitamin tablets and omega-3 fat capsules, and this worked. I think the whole way we think of weight gain and weight loss in the Western world is wrong. I don't think this is some conspiracy aimed at fattening the population. That's not what I mean. But you must take into consideration that the situation where food is equally available all year round, in the global scheme of things, is a new situation. Even when I was a child, food was much more dependent on seasons. Just one more generation back, my parents experienced firsthand the refrigeration revolution, where refrigerators became commercially available. Before that, communal storage compartments were available for rent, cooled with literal ice cubes delivered by ship. Even one more generation from that back, and they were completely dependent on other ways of storing food. Here in Norway, that was usually entailed drying, salting, or both. During the winter, one could also use natural freezing, but this was of course unreliable, and if something went wrong, this could end in catastrophe. Literally, people starved to death if something went wrong with the food storage, even in the 19th century Norway. This led to a completely different relationship with food back then, where eating up everything served, taking seconds, and so on was considered polite and proper behavior. Saying no to food offered and not eating everything was considered very rude. Interestingly, one can see reminiscence of this also in today's food culture, even though food availability has completely changed. I must mention that this has been a challenge for me. I have had to distance myself from my own food culture, to take a strong, pragmatic stance in relation to my own eating habits. This includes setting clear boundaries from pressure from others. before the ability to gain weight was seen as an unambiguously positive trait, and it was directly linked to survival. One can in fact argue that in a place like Norway, where there is in many cases 5 months of winter with snow, the ability to accumulate fat for later might have been absolutely necessary for survival just 100 to 150 years ago. I will not talk more about food culture for now, but I might follow it up in couch philosophy. Most places in the world have seasons where food is less available. If it isn't winter, it's drought or flooding or something else. The fact that humans have the ability for fat storing is in my mind a crucial part of the human success story. I don't know how this is in other relatives of humans like monkeys, but I think the fat accumulation ability must be the same in humans as in many other mammals. Maybe the best examples are bears, which in many cases doubles its body weight before hibernation in the winter. This annual cycle of gaining and losing weight has been built into at least the European culture. In the autumn, where one harvested the crops, and early winter when one slaughtered the animals that one can't feed through the winter, is a time where food is richly available, and the annual cultural fasting comes at late winter. The European fasting starts 7 weeks before Easter and lasts for 40 days. This is an opportunity to burn the fat that one has stored in case the winter wasn't so bad after all. Muslims also have their month of fasting at Ramadan. Even if Ramadan isn't tied to a specific time of year, they have this annual opportunity to lose the extra weight. First thing I have learned through this fasting period is that I didn't know from before, is that it's not some epic drama. Actually, the 21 weeks of fasting that I have gone through for now wasn't hard at all. I can probably count on my fingers the days I have had to use willpower to restrict my eating. This was one of the strangest and surprising discoveries. Normally I get hungry when I eat less at a meal, but once I got going with the diet, the lower amount of food at once became the new norm. I attribute this to the notion that cyclical weight loss is natural also for us humans. Second is that gaining weight is a slow process. I have gained those 30 kilos over a period of almost equally many years. I think I must go at least 25 years back to a time when I weighed less than 90 kilos. Losing weight is fast, and one doesn't have to start bootcamp training regime to accomplish it. And actually, I recommend against it, even though I strongly advise to have a somewhat active lifestyle in general. This has little to do with weight loss. Here's some pictures of me with my old pants. Gaining and losing fat is natural, and in many cases maybe even a positive thing. I see that new studies also point this out. But of course, one must lose that fat at some point. As an end thought, imagine a bear eating like it's autumn and then not going into hibernation, but instead just continue eating the same way. How long time would it keep it up before it had to roll instead of walk? So culturally, we have gone from gaining and losing weight in an annual cycle, maybe since before we evolved into humanoids or monkeys at all, to having all the food we need all year round just the last 75 to 150 years, and thus we have tried to end the cycle. To me, it doesn't seem to have worked for us. The notion that weight loss is difficult or dangerous is a myth. I assume it has started around awareness about eating disorders. This, of course, is a serious thing, but I doubt that most of us are even disposed to this. Also, I don't think it's justified to give wrong and some cases maybe harmful, judged on the dangers posed by the overweight epidemic that we see today, information to public based on the danger of a minority that is disposed to eating disorders. If you are amongst those who have accumulated some extra kilos over the years, It might simply be because you are descendant of those who survived that harsh winter or drought, and not because there is something wrong with you or your attitude. This deception that it's hard and dangerous to lose weight has over the years been perpetuated by a pseudo-scientific health industry that has turned our fears and misconceptions into a super profitable industry. And it's not okay. Everybody can't be a health professional, so we have to trust someone to give us the right information, also adapted to healthy individuals. Now that I know better, I absolutely will start fasting annually. But of course, I will also try to keep the weight down year-round. Follow-up to this video will be featured in the Couch Philosophy series. I love to be right, and that is the reason I urge you to correct me if I'm wrong. This counts for all my videos. Please write a commentary below or contact me with some of the contact information I provide in the description. Especially, I hope to hear from you if you think I have said something that is factually wrong. Wikipedia should be sufficient sources for most of what I'm saying, but if you struggle to find sources for anything, please notify me in the commentary section and I will get straight to work providing it. Also, if you want to help me promoting this kind of content, the easiest way for you is to simply click either the like or dislike button, subscribe to the channel, and best of all, write your thoughts about the content in the commentary field. All viewer activity will help YouTube algorithm to promote my video further. Thank you for the view and have a nice day.